You see they're dry. You see there's no marrow in the bone. You see they're scattered all over the valley. They ain't even full skeletons. I mean, the bones are scattered all over the valley. They're just bones. But answer me a question, Ezekiel. Can these bones live? Ezekiel answers the only way he knows how to answer. Lord, you know. Critical race theory was born out of critical legal theory. Am I teaching y'all something today? There emerged two common beliefs linking all critical race theories. First, white supremacy has subordinated black people and other people of color. That's just a fact. How in the world are you going to fight against that being taught in any school? White supremacy has subordinated black people and other people of color. That's a fact. Why don't you want that to be taught in school? You let your schools teach us that Columbus discovered America. That's a lie. You let your schools teach us that George Washington couldn't tell a lie. That's a lie. You let your schools teach us that some slave owners were beneficent and good slave owners. There were no good slave owners. Anybody who owned people was evil. That's a lie. You let your schools teach us that Abraham Lincoln was good for Negroes. No, Abraham Lincoln was trying to save the Union. And Abe Lincoln himself said if he could save the Union and keep black people in chains, he would do it. That's a lie. Come on, somebody. You let them teach us about a white Jesus. You let them teach us that Native Americans were the aggressors. Come on, somebody. That white folk had a manifest destiny and that the Pilgrims were good at Native Americans. That's a lie. All day, every day, you let them teach us lies. All throughout my history in school, I was taught lies. But you got a problem with critical race theory because it teaches the truth that white supremacy has subordinated black people and people of color. The right to bear arms. Let me just back up a little bit and let me take you on back to the late 1960s when Ronald Reagan was the governor of California. And they were oppressing black folk, and a group of men and women known as the Black Panther Party decided that they were going to defend the rights of black folk. And the Black Panthers decided that the Second Amendment wasn't just for white folk. So they strapped themselves with guns and showed up at the Capitol in California. And when they saw them Negroes with guns, come on, somebody. That's why I say if you ever really want to get gun laws changed, just strap all these Negroes up. They'll change them laws before the week is over. When the Black Panthers, watch this, I want you to read, the California legislator passed what was called the Mulford Act. It was a gun control act that decided who could get guns, who couldn't get guns, what could be in your background, what couldn't be in your background. It was the first time in history that the National Rifle Association, the NRA, supported restrictive gun legislation, all because black folk had the nerve to get strapped. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, go get strapped. Amen, somebody. Y'all gonna say Bishop told us to get strapped. I said it. Go get strapped. It just got real quiet up in here. But y'all already know I'm a triple P. Amen. Y'all know what a triple P is, right? A pistol packing preacher. Amen, somebody. Peace, family. Happy Friday. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. I missed y'all Monday, but we here. Yeah, I don't know if Facebook gonna try to trip on that, so I'm gonna turn it down. Of course, you can go to iHeart, you can go to TuneIn, you can go to WTCC FM to hear the music till I can get to something that they're not gonna shut me down for. But good morning, everybody. Like, share, subscribe. Rep your city, rep your town. Let me know where you are in from. Got some stuff to talk about in these yet to be United States of America. Happy Founders Day to all of my brothers from Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated. Yes, it is Founders Day. So to all the brown and gold brothers of I-Phi, good morning to you. I need to get Instagram and I need to get let's see. All right, I got Twitter on. All right, Twitter's on. Twitter's in the house. Let's get the gram on. Peace to the gram. Peace to the gram. Like, share, subscribe. Do all that stuff. Rep your city, rep your town. We got to talk about this non-democracy that we live in. You got to wonder if we ever lived in a democracy. You got to wonder, did we ever live in a democracy? That's questionable, you know. That's questionable. I gotta play a little bit of John Coltrane. Trying to find the song I wanted to play. Let me see. There we go. Let's do some Otis Redding. Got to do a little Otis Redding because it's Friday. And we do that in honor of Uncle Ben, State Rep Ben Swan, who was the host of this program for many, many years and whose birthday was yesterday. And he is, let me see. My dad will be 84 next month. So that means Uncle Ben just turned 93. So y'all throw a happy birthday to Uncle Ben, to State Rep Ben Swan, up in the comment section. All right. They're shutting everybody up, y'all. Everybody. Jimmy Kimmel, they're shutting up comedians, they're shutting up preachers, and the question is gonna be, are we willing to sacrifice? Because let me tell you how this works. And I'll say this when we go live over the air. How this works is they use people as examples. Jail some folk, prosecute some folk, kill some folk, silence some folk. They use them as an example so that the masses will fall into line and be too afraid that it will happen to them. And so they fall in line with the dictatorship. That's how Hitler did it. That's how every dictator has done it throughout the annals of history. And y'all need to know that's what's happening in America. That's what's happening in America. They want y'all to look at other people and say, "Hey, did you hear what happened to so and so? You got to be careful cuz that can happen to you." That's what it's about. They want to frighten you into silence. Dot dot na na na. All right. Happy Friday. Good morning. It is Founders Day for the Brown and Gold Brothers of Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated. And guess what? I don't care nothing about none of them preachers telling us we going to hell for being in a fraternity. I don't care nothing about none of that.
Every day you get up, you've been given a gift. That's why they call it the present. And it's up to you of how you unwrap it. So yesterday is history.
Them Negroes can go snorkel in mud.
Is a gift. So don't let the pain of your past.
That's all I'm saying.
And poison your future. Stop replaying the movie. Why did this happen to me? When it's done,
I don't care nothing about that.
Done with it. If it seems like you keep running into pigeons, it's an indication that you're flying too low. So set your sights a little higher. Remember, eagles fly by themselves. If you can see the invisible, you can do the impossible. Allow your challenges to be a stepping stone to propel you into new possibilities. So be discontent with your past accomplishment. You're only as great as your last success. So maintain your hunger and your passion.
All right, rep your city, rep your town. Let's go. Let's get it.
There's a tree. In every tree, there is a forest. Who and what you were born into is simply the environment to prepare you for your ultimate purpose. It was not a setback, it was a setup. Your purpose and potential is bigger than your past pain or problem. Listen to your heart, don't let your mind fool you. Remember the talk that he gave to you. Whatever you do is gonna surely come.
90.7 WTCC. Good morning and welcome to the Black Love Experience. Happy Friday to each and every one of you out there. Listen, I missed y'all on Monday. I missed y'all, but I'm here today. And so do me a favor. Like, share, subscribe. Rep your city, rep your town. Let me know exactly where you are chiming in from, because I want to know. I want to know where y'all are chiming in from. All right. I know Houston's in the house. I know Chicago's in the house. We're going to scream and call out some more. Let me get over here on the gram and see who's chiming in on the gram side. Yeah. Good morning to those in the Twitter space. Good morning to all of those in the Pioneer Valley and wherever you are listening from on this Friday morning. Listen, if y'all didn't think we lived in a dictatorship, I think you should know that by now. I think you need to know that by now. Controlling the media, getting them to fire people they don't like because they say things they don't listen. We in a mess. We in a mess. All right, just let somebody know Bishop is on the air, and we talking about this mess that we are in. 413-736-2781. 413-736-2781 is the number here. It'll be an open forum more. We'll take your telephone calls, all that good stuff. So tell a friend. Bishop is on the air right now. Okay. And we'll be right back. Don't go nowhere. Don't touch that dial. This is a response to the sellout because we still got some folks selling us out. Oh, and happy Founders Day. Happy Founders Day to the Brothers of Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated. Y'all like the brown and gold, right? Y'all like the brown and gold. Go on, put in there. Tell us Happy Founders Day. Tell us Happy Founders Day. Y'all like the, oh, y'all like, look at that. Y'all like the brown and gold bracelet made by Tweet the Jeweler? Y'all like that brown and gold? Yeah. Don't hate, congratulate. Anyway, we'll be right back. Don't go nowhere. Let's get it, y'all.
You say you sold out because black women are loud and crass. What? And your precious white woman is the epitome of class? Are you so blind that you cannot see?
That pale girl child ain't got nothing on me.
For hundreds of years we have stood by your side, accepted your flaws and allowed you your pride, bore your children and cleaned up your mess, satisfied your lust and always settled for less. We have stayed in the background and allowed you to lead, trusting in your strength and ability to succeed, never getting the praise and credit we deserve, for having the courage, the will, and the nerve, for being the backbone that has kept it together, for you and our children in all kinds of weather. And now suddenly you say we're not good enough for you. We forced you to sell out because of the things we do. Well, where was that white woman when that white man you hate
was cracking the whip?
In the boardroom, the warehouse, and on the slave ship. She stood by his side and didn't say a word, waiting for her own chance to rule and be heard. And now it's her you turn to and treat like a queen? And me and my sisters you choose to demean? Well, hold up, wait a minute, and stop the damn bus. Because there are a few things I need to remind you about us. Listen up. A more beautiful creature God never made than an African woman, no matter her shade. High, yellow, red bone, or
Cocoa brown.
We are more than worthy of wearing a crown. Ebony, mocha, or black as the night. It is we who have always shared in your plight. We are passionate, spiritual.
All right, rep your city, rep your town.
This heart you'll never find. Than the one that beats inside the body of a Nubian queen. The hardest working, loving, giving woman you've ever seen. For we give and forgive until there's little left. Then we're forced to put up our guard to avoid your theft. The theft of our hearts and our trust, the very nature of our soul. by our so-called brothers who are just playing a role.
Playing a role.
And you wonder why some of us act as we do? Take a look in the mirror, because the answer is you. It's not enough that the white man has always tried to keep us down, and still is. But our own men act as though they'd love to see us drown. And white women have never invited us to join their equal rights struggle. So we're out here alone with a million things we juggle, raising the children that black men
Here we go.
and dealing with the racism of the daily corporate grind.
Here we go.
It's no wonder some of us are loud. Hell, we're just trying to be heard.
Instagram messing with a brother again.
Where are the brothers who understand a black woman's work? Who will protect and stand by us? For we are the salt of this earth. We birthed you, raised you, and showered you with love. It was we who taught you to love the creator above. We gave you all we had and taught you to be men.
They keep threatening to shut down my stream.
Your black sisters, not the Derek's kind who rape a perfect 10. And one final word for the sellout to claim to be brothers. When you turn your back on us, you disrespect your mothers. Did you hear that?
Did y'all hear that? That's a response to the sellout. 90.7 WTCC. Good morning. Welcome, 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 welcome. Welcome. Happy Founders Day again to the Brothers of Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated. Let me get this disclaimer in here.
Views and opinions expressed on this program are solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of the staff or management of WTCC Radio or Springfield Technical Community College.
All right, all right, all right, all right. Who do we have in here? Let me see. We got St. Louis, Missouri. Y'all say Missouri or Missouri. Either way, you in here. We got Chicago. Chicago is in the building. We got Houston in the building. We got upstate New York. They didn't say where. They just said upstate. Somebody said they're in the deep redneck South. Wow. The deep redneck South. Good morning to my daughter who had her 40th birthday yesterday. Y'all say happy birthday to my daughter Whitney. She's on the Facebook Live. Shout her out. Wish her a happy birthday. She turned 40. She became an old woman yesterday. And I guess if she's an old woman, then I must be an old man. Yeah, I have a cousin who's a year older than me, and she's born in April too. 4 days. Her birthday is 4 days before mine, and I teased her when her oldest son, who happened to be the ring boy in my wedding, when he turned 40 a few years ago, I teased her about having a 40-year-old. And here I am. Here I am in the same place, that she was in, wishing happy birthday to my 40-year-old. So y'all wish my daughter Whitney a happy 40th birthday. They say 40 is the new 30, and I'll take that, because if 40 is the new 30, then 60 is the new 50. All right, I might be being a little generous, but I'm gonna do that. let's see. I got off track there because my daughter's birthday was in there. Let me see. I was recognizing y'all from where y'all were chiming in from. I shouted out Chicago, Union, New Jersey, Windsor, Connecticut. Atlanta is in the building. I'll be in Atlanta shortly. Houston is in the building. Dallas is in the building. I'll be in Dallas shortly too. South Carolina is in the building. Charlotte, North Carolina is in the building. Raleigh, North Carolina. I see a couple Happy Founders Days in there. Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all. Miami, Florida is up in the building. Let's see. Who else we got up in here? Who's in here? I had to reset. The gram, so I see Charlotte jumped right on in the gram. So y'all rep your city, rep your town. Let me know where you are chiming in from. And of course, I haven't seen nobody get in here from the field. The field is always late. Y'all be right here in Springfield, and y'all be the latest ones to chime in your city or your town. What's wrong with y'all? Anyway, 413-736-2781. 413-736-2781 is the number here. Jimmy Kimmel had his show pulled because, let me tell you what Kimmel said. Jimmy Kimmel, I see you, 413. Jimmy Kimmel said that MAGA was trying to pretend. I see you, New Orleans, my frat brother from New Orleans. Good morning. Marietta, Georgia, in the building. UMass, Dartmouth, in the building. Good morning, good morning, good morning. They calling on the phone lines. This must be the field trying to check in. Good morning. Oh, nope, they hanging up the phone. Anyway, good morning, all y'all checking in. Marietta, good morning to you. Yes. So what he said was, basically what happened was when it came out that Charlie Kirk had gotten shot, all of his supporters and followers, Trump supporters, followers, right-wingers, white supremacists, all of them folks. I see you, Sacramento, California. I see you, Salem, North Carolina. We're trying to pretend it was somebody on the left. It was somebody black, somebody brown, an immigrant, a trans person, somebody in the LGBTQ. It had to be one of them who killed Charlie Kirk. Good morning, caller. All right, appreciate you. That's the 413 checking in. And so when it came out that the killer, Tyler Robinson, was a white boy raised in Utah, one of the whitest places on earth, in a Republican family. Grandmama said they ain't never voted nothing but Republican. And they all support Trump. And when pictures started circulating on the internet of his parents standing in front of the White House with MAGA hats on, well, we knew this dude was raised in the MAGA culture. All right? In the MAGA culture. I see you, Chicago. And ain't nobody think about no Phi Beta Sigma. This is IOTA's day. This is our day. So when we found out that he was MAGA, that just bust their bubble, because immediately after his killing, they started threatening HBCUs. It was the craziest thing. I talked about this last Friday. How we had a Republican white MAGA dude who got killed by a Republican white MAGA dude at a predominantly white school in a predominantly white city in a predominantly white state. But then everybody was mad at black people and threatening black colleges. I'm like, make it make sense. And so they've tried to push it off on the left. So what they started doing after they found out that this dude was MAGA, and his parents was MAGA, and his grandmama was MAGA, and his cat and dog was MAGA, they tried to create another narrative. I see you, Toronto, Canada. Maryland is checking in. What they tried to do, they still tried to push it off on the left. So they said, oh, the dude was in a relationship with a transgender. That means he's on the left. So they didn't care that he was raised in a MAGA household with two MAGA parents wearing MAGA hats at the White House. They didn't care he was raised in Utah, MAGA country. All of the evidence saying this dude was MAGA. They didn't care nothing about that. They're going to make him be a leftist. So the only thing they had was he's in a relationship with somebody from the trans community. So that means he's a leftist. That's their interpretation. He's got to be a leftist because he's in a relationship. And we even had black preachers pushing that same narrative. Oh, the trans. And here's the thing. You're being disingenuous. You are being disingenuous because what they're trying to make you think is trans or being in a relationship with somebody trans means you can't be MAGA, can't be right wing. But Caitlyn Jenner is rolling around here in MAGA hats. Y'all do the research. Somebody Google it, put it up. Somebody Google, find the article where folk was mad, where the trans community was mad at Caitlyn Jenner because Caitlyn was rolling around in a MAGA hat. And Caitlyn has, on multiple occasions, talked about being a Trump supporter. And you have a whole group called Trans for Trump. So them trying to pretend, oh, he's in a relationship with a trans person, so got to be on the left. No, because you got MAGA folk that are trans. Y'all just can't get by this. You can't make stuff up. So Charlie Kirk was killed by a MAGA dude. And they don't know how to handle that because all of their scapegoats have disappeared. They were hoping it was somebody black. It was somebody brown. It was somebody trans. It was somebody this. It was somebody that. But it turned out to be somebody raised in the MAGA culture. White on white crime. MAGA on MAGA crime. That's what it was. And they can't handle it. And they still trying to make up stuff around it. So Jimmy said, basically described what they were trying to do, that they were jumping through hoops, trying to make this person something other than one of them. That's what he said, other than one of them. And the FCC chairman got into it and basically threatened ABC, and then they took Jimmy Kimmel off the air. But wait, we're supposed to be about free speech, right? Ain't this country supposed to be about free speech? Free speech isn't an ornament. It's supposed to be an operating system. And so you're going to pull a late night host because he said something Trump and them didn't like. Not only did they pull Jimmy Kimmel, they put up a whole website where you could submit names and screenshots of people who said something bad about Charlie Kirk. And by bad, what they mean is just tell the truth about him. Matter of fact, they were trying to get people fired. Watch this. Trying to get people fired for quoting Charlie Kirk. Yeah. Now they're trying to compare Charlie Kirk to MLK, but we can unashamedly quote Dr. King. But they're claiming quoting Charlie Kirk is hate speech. Wait. Pump the brakes. Help me understand how quoting Charlie Kirk is hate speech, but it wasn't hate speech when Charlie Kirk said it. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. So they have literally been investigating teachers, investigating federal employees, threatening broadcasters, intimidating people. And this ought to matter because these are the hallmarks of authoritarianism. These are the hallmarks of a dictatorship. Free speech is supposed to protect unpopular speech, not the comfortable kind. And so when you have regulations, or when you have regulators like the FCC chairman, when you have powerful interests that threaten broadcasters over content, that threatens everybody's rights. And this is why you need to be concerned. If they're pulling people off the air, firing media personalities. One of our dear sisters got fired from the Washington Post because they didn't like her commentary on the Charlie Kirk incident. And they're trying to gaslight us and say that was a private company making a private decision. No, it was a private company that was coerced by a public official who threatened that there would be regulatory consequences if they did not pull Jimmy Kimmel off the air. This is chilling, brothers and sisters. This is chilling. When teachers and staff at colleges and universities are suspended for posting their opinions, when there's a wave of disciplinary actions, all because folk don't like what you said, your opinion about Charlie Kirk, and then when you got 31 Democrats that vote with the Republicans to make October 14th a National Charlie Kirk Remembrance Day, so we're venerating this white supremacist. America is on a slippery slope. And if we let licensing threats or people face reprisals on their jobs, if that becomes the answer to political speech, I want you to understand what comes next. Is selective enforcement, and then a permanent silencing of dissent. History has warned us that this is how this ends. If you just look at the historical comparisons, there is a problem. There is a problem, ladies and gentlemen. Especially since America has always boasted about its fierce devotion to free speech. And looks like we got anything but that. Let me get Blue Sky Ambassador up in here. Blue Sky, you got the microphone. Good morning. All right, Blue Sky.
Good morning. My microphone is kind of hot. So anyway, thanks for the space. I really appreciate it. I want to give a shout out to everyone here. Thanks for joining us. Good space. I wanted to let everyone know this hypocrisy is unbelievable. Today I saw President of the United States, Donald Trump, attacking one of my friends, Ilhan Omar, lying about her, about married to her brother. That stuff was started by Charles Crick, the guy we were just talking about. He's the one who created that fuss. She came here as a kid with her parents. I know her. I know her family. Same like me, my parents come here. They brought a lot of their kids here. Went to school here. University College, University of North Dakota. She doesn't know nothing about Somalia. And she was a refugee with her parents. And she never married to anyone to get a citizenship. She came here as a refugee with her parents, and that's how she became American. That's the truth. The president should know better than that. He has access to how people become American citizen. It's very simple. He request and find out. But he didn't do that. He relied on propaganda, mega attack on black people, character assassination, false, and something that's not totally false. It is, unfortunately. But the thing is, they're normalizing lies. There's no accountability on Charles Crick when he created the false narrative about other people, like attacking Al-Hard, attacking Muslim people, attacking black people.
Well, that's part of my problem is the fact that they want to censor us for talking about what Charlie did and said. But it was okay when he did it and he said it. Appreciate you chiming in. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. I'm good. You?
Man, Bishop Swan, I just want to thank you for the work that you do as a bishop in the Church of God in Christ. And I want to say, Bishop Swan, I never have met you, and because for your audience, you even think I never have met you, and you never have met me. But I think the Church of God in Christ Executive Board need to take a better stand with what's going on. This young man got killed in the state of they got found hanging in the state of Mississippi. It was actually two people. But the Church of God in Christ need to take a stronger stand. I'm disappointed because you're the only bishop that I see taking a strong stand, standing 10 toes down. Pointed in these folks that's holding these positions, you shouldn't be the only one that's out in the flow point that's really saying something. It's too much weak talk going on, and these weak official statements, they ain't impressing me at all.
All right. Appreciate your call. 413-736-2781. And just for the record, though, there is an official statement on the Trey Reed incident that was made by our presiding bishop. And he did have an opportunity to speak with and pray with the family, and is awaiting other details on that incident. We did talk about that incident. So I don't know if you were able to see that statement, the position that our presiding bishop took on the Trey Reed, the young man who was found hung at Delta State University. Unfortunate tragedy. Let me get the Negro Black Night Heritage Club in here. Good morning. You are on the air.
Hello. Good morning, Bishop. How you doing today?
I'm fair to middling. How you?
I'm doing blessed, man. I definitely want to weigh on this Charlie Kirk situation. First things first, if you look at Utah Valley University, they have a Filipina president of that university. And we need to be looking at every college, because he had a college tour of people who were supporting this behavior. So we actually need to start looking at who were the universities and why they're supporting. These universities are getting federal funding they're getting federal funding, and they think because they're predominantly PWI that they're exempt and have these polarizing type of people on campuses. They say inflammatory speech.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to be on, and then they're getting federal dollars, our tax money. At the same time, they're disrespecting Black American people.
Right.
Yes, he might
Right.
have briefly talked to other people, but he was focused on Black American people when it came to criminality, when it came to the household structure. So this is a Black American thing.
Yeah.
This ain't no everybody thing. And we
Yeah.
got to be really honest when it comes to this Charlie Kirk thing. So that's one of the things I did want to lay down and inform you about, that this is a Latina woman, or a Filipino woman, Filipino woman who benefits off the AAPI hate crime bill, but at the same time, she pushed that nonsense on her campus. Why is she not being fired? Why are we not calling for people who had this campaign on against our community for those presidents to step down?
Yeah.
Like, let's really wake this up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Brother.
yet still, they can go on our HBCUs, where our HBCUs are being impacted. Our children miss days of school. They miss days of school because of this woman's behavior on her campus. This is how you know that it superseded freedom of speech. Your freedom of speech should not infringe on my rights when I'm in another side of the country. All right? So these are some of the things that we really have an honest talking about. And shame on these Black lawyers who ain't standing for us and our First Amendment rights. Mark my words, I'm watching you. I'm really watching how these lawyers are moving, specifically the Black ones who ain't standing for those young brothers and sisters who had a right to voice their concerns. They had their God-given right to do that in the nation that we built. That's what I wanted to say, Bishop. Thank you for allowing me to speak on this topic, homie.
All right. I appreciate you, brother. I feel your passion, and I agree with everything that you said. Everything. Good morning, caller. Turn your radio down, caller. Turn your radio down. All right, turn your radio down, caller. Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing, Bishop?
I'm good. You?
It's a blessing to hear from you.
Yes, sir.
The reason why the colleges are getting that money is because they allowed us to have it. You know, matter of fact, not presidents, just Republicans, but Democrats, everybody, they allowed us to have it. They giving them this money so they can teach this supremacy.
Well, you know what the caller said was so very true. Is so they allowed this college to bring this white supremacist onto campus. Now, what would the Trump administration have done if a college brought Minister Farrakhan on campus, or someone that they deemed to be controversial or so-called racist? What he would have done was threaten to pull all of their federal funding because they were having them on campus. So what the brother said was absolutely true.
Unfortunately, you know, I'm just hearing about this. You know, and it's a shame that we're just hearing about this. And we're hearing it from you. We ain't hearing from the news. They're not even really talking about it as much up here. I don't know about Mississippi. But they're not talking about it up here. But they're definitely letting everybody know about Charlie Kirk. Not a man that was hung, but Charlie Kirk.
Yes.
That's for sure.
Yes. All right. 413-736-2781 for those of you who are trying to chime in on the conversation. Yeah, Trey Reed was found hanging from a tree in the middle of campus at Delta State University on the 15th, a few days ago, about 4 days ago. 413-736-2781. If you're in the space, you can certainly put your request in and we'll get you on the air. And of course, if you're on our other social media outlets, you can put your comments in and chime in on the conversation. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hello, yes, Bishop. But I've seen an official statement. What I really want to say is that you spend an hour time on it. These them other folks, man, they dropping all this stuff going on the police. They got the federal military done took over Memphis, and you to draft a weak statement like that. We need a strong voice in the court. Like I said, and I say it again, you the only person that I see that's taking our time to really deal, and you ain't doing no weak talk talking about these issues. I mean, you being real.
Well, you know, bro, what's disheartening from a broader perspective is a lack of clarion calls from black clergy around the nation, from any and all denominations, and the fact that those who are speaking are being targeted, are being threatened, are being surveyed by the FBI, are on their little lists, and all of that, because they figure if these 10 preachers are talking, we'll just pick these 10 off, and then we'll have no black preachers who are speaking truth to power in these days and times, and this is a day and time that calls for courage. It calls for not for sweet sounding stuff. It calls for courage, and it calls for people who are willing to put it on the line to speak truth to power for God's people.
The headquarters of the Church of God Christ in Memphis, and all the time you were saying nothing. It's bad. It's bad. I'm gonna hang up. This is my last time following you.
All right, appreciate you, brother. 413-736-2781. 413-736-2781. I feel y'all passion. I feel it. There's some trying times. You know, Dr. King predicted. He said we got some difficult days ahead. And America's whole claim about free speech is really meaningless if speech is only protected when it pleases those in power. So Charlie Kirk has a right to go onto campus and call black people criminals and say all kinds of disparaging things, about us. That's the kind of speech that they want to protect. When it pleases them. When somebody gets on TV and says something that they agree with, that's protected. But when Jimmy Kimmel says something they disagree with, get them off the air. And so that's what we watched this week. We watched a major broadcast network preempt a popular late night program because the host made some remarks about Charlie Kirk's killing, and several large affiliate groups pulled the show, and the chair of the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, a political appointee with direct lines to the president and the administration, publicly warned broadcasters that there would be regulatory consequences if they didn't act the way they wanted them to act. All right? And so there are people who are calling for the intervention into this, because this is an extraordinary assault on the freedom of the press, which is supposed to be a part of America. And it sets a dangerous precedent. Let's be clear. Private companies can make editorial decisions. Network executives have the legal right to schedule and discipline their talent. But there's a big difference between a private company exercising judgment and a regulatory agency like the FCC or a government official like the president holding a gun to a network's licensing and basically saying, in effect, either do this or else. And that's what the FCC chairman said. We can do this the easy way or we can do it the hard way. Either pull Jimmy Kimmel or we'll pull your license. So when the chair of a federal agency publicly telegraphs that there's going to be punitive action and uses it as leverage over speech and programming, they have crossed the line from private governance into state coercion. That's the government controlling the press. That's dictatorship. That's authoritarianism. That is fascism, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, caller. I'm good. You?
I'm doing well and getting better. I just called and I wanted to say this to the masses. To some degree, I think, and this is my personal opinion, we all kind of slept a little on this. The handwriting was on the wall when I believe it's CBS to get that deal with caved in and paid this administration $16 million. Which is basically extortion money.
150 million.
Okay, extortion money to get that deal to go through, and no one really said nothing about that.
Now that you mentioned that, let's go further than that. When you talk about the Paramount issue, I don't know if people paid attention when they had the VMA Awards the other Sunday. LL Cool J was hosting, and LL Cool J said, "We're here for the music. Everything else gets checked at the door." Basically, what LL was saying was no politics. Because, in those music awards, people get up and they make their acceptance speeches and they say political things. They say stuff like Free Palestine, or they say what, and basically he was saying no politics. Now, the irony of that was LL became famous from hip hop, a protest genre, a genre of music birthed out of the oppression of black people, being able to use music to speak truth to power, and using him to say no politics. And the crazy thing was, of course, the VMAs are by MTV. MTV is owned by who? Paramount, okay, who cut the deal with the Trump administration and paid $150 billion, and they don't want no more trouble out of the Trump administration. So basically they said, we're going to have these VMA awards, but y'all better not say nothing political.
That's exactly my point. I mean, the outcry should have really started then. There was a little bit of noise made, but to basically be held for like extortion, because that's really what they did. They extorted that. To get that deal, they got paid, and everybody just said, okay, oh wow, and that was the end of that. So now we have this.
And it's the same thing with Jimmy Kimmel, because ABC is in the midst of trying to do a merger that requires the FCC approval. And so if the FCC said, hey, if you don't get rid of Jimmy Kimmel, you might have some problems with that merger.
They got away with it once. Why not go again? Keep doing it so somebody's telling me. They literally, we gave them a freebie. We gave them an out. And they're just bleeding it. They found the chicken and they're plucking it.
Absolutely.
We're all culpable to some degree for not making more noise over that Paramount deal. That was just outright, straight up extortion.
No doubt.
That was strictly extortion. And it was all based on it wasn't even viable. CBS would have won that hands down. He was extorting them over them allegedly altering Kamala Harris's interview.
Oh yeah, well, basically, it was all of the experts. Appreciate your call. All of the experts agree with you that they didn't have a case. That if that case went through court, Trump would have lost it. But because they were trying to do that deal and they needed federal approval, they said, instead of fighting this and winning this and then not getting approval for our deal, we'll settle. We'll pay the 150 million, get our deal done, and call it a day. And so they are holding these things over people's heads. And they are using the power of the government basically to control people, to frighten people. That's what they're doing with teachers, university staff, with them investigating, suspending, and firing them, because they're saying, if you don't fire these teachers, then we're going to pull your federal funding. And so now we got educators under scrutiny for social media posts, students facing expulsion for expressing their opinions, and this pattern is unmistakable. It's unmistakable. It's the same pattern Hitler and other dictators used. And let there be no confusion. There's consequences for hateful, violent, and defamatory speech. The rule of law exists for a reason, but what we're seeing today, threats and discipline that is applied selectively with a political calculus. They're trying to control us, ladies and gentlemen. I speak from direct experience, because people have called public officials in my state. They want to remove me from civic roles because I've spoken truth. They've been calling the governor's office, trying to kick me off the hate crimes task force and all of that kind of stuff. They called my fraternity. They called my national denomination. All of that. Shut Swan up. And they get frustrated because ain't no white managers that they can call to get me fired and all that kind of stuff. That they hate a free black man. They hate a free person anyway. And that's why, I wind up being on the FBI watch list and all that kind of crazy stuff. When they started calling us black identity extremists. And anyway, we live in some dangerous times. Keep it locked right here. Coming up next at 10 o'clock is Don Felton with mid-morning jazz and great black music. He's going to make it smooth. He's going to make it personal. So don't touch that dial. Keep it locked right here on 90.7 FM. If you're looking for a place to worship, check us out at the Spring of Hope Church of God in Christ, 35 Alden Street, Bishop Talbert Swan Way, the brick church right there at Six Corners. There's prayer, praising, preaching. We're building better tomorrows by changing lives today. Love to see you at 11 o'clock a.m. on Sunday morning. See you on Monday on the spoken word. All right? I'm out of here. Until the next time I talk to you and you talk to me. Always remember, God loves you, and so do I. Peace and blessings.
Something fresh, I'll pick a verse out of my notebook. Regardless, I'ma get it in. I'm a hidden gem and a monster with a pen. I remember looking up to Nas, Common, Eminem, Kanye, and Sean Carter made me rhyme harder, but I ain't acting hard. Balls on deck, I'm pulling all these rappers' cards. You don't want a battle, dog. You don't have.
How you feel?
I got in my catalog.
Good.
I never slacking off. I never front, but I ain't backing off. Good thing the beat is fire, cause I'm